Good morning, everyone, and welcome to The Marketplace Code, a podcast where you'll be learning everything you need to know about Walmart.com and how to master the Walmart space. Here today, it's myself, David Milstein, and Michael Lebar from Silkcord. We'd love to talk to you and hopefully learn something new about Walmart. Let's kick things off today talking a little bit about the Omnichannel on Walmart. You know, this is an ever-evolving space as it continues to grow. Let's dive right in.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to talk on a lot about a lot of different things throughout this series and throughout a lot of our content. And really, we're going to be focused on how to grow on Walmart.com. But in these sessions, we'll also touch on how to leverage Walmart.com to really grow in store and how to leverage the omni-channel experience. I think one of the biggest things that Walmart offers is because it's a true omni-channel retailer, there's so many opportunities if you leverage .com to grow your in-store sales and you leverage in-store to grow your .com business. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on strategies, tactics, and just different ideas of how we operate and how we help brands grow on Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, it's an ever-evolving space, as we said, and really each one plays into the other. You know, having a strong in-store business can really boost your capabilities. And if you're, let's say, starting out a new brand, you're only online, you know, how do you use that to bring you into stores? Let's explore that a little bit more. So, Michael, what do you say are some core principles for an online brand who's just getting started, or maybe they already have some strong, digital penetration and they're just looking to grow and maybe build that store business? What is a key way to go about that?
Yeah, so I think we could start with first, just to take it back a little bit, like what are the different ways to sell with Walmart?
Right, yes, right. Probably a good place to start.
Yeah, so when you think about Walmart, there's what traditionally people call 3P and 1P, right? So the way it's really broken out is that there's store items, right? All store items are store shared. Almost all items are store shared. So meaning if you buy it in store, you could also buy it online. And when you buy it online, you have an option for pickup and delivery and sometimes shipping as well, right? So that's a true omni item. Then you have 1P items, .com only. So there's two types of that. So there's either a 1P owned item where Walmart buys the inventory, they bring it to their own fulfillment centers, and then obviously they own the retails and they sell that. That's a great way to operate. Walmart's shipping rates are obviously very, very competitive, but also their shipping times are really quick. Their FCs are well distributed. Then there's another model, which is 1P dropship, where Walmart still owns the retail, but it's dropship, meaning when you get the order, when the order comes in, it comes to you as a supplier and you ship it from your own warehouses, right? And that's, for years, that's all people really operated with Walmart. And now you have 3P. Within 3P, there's two main ways to sell. There's either WFS, which you send in the inventory to Walmart, it's still your inventory, it's not consignment, or it's seller fulfilled, meaning that you get an order, it's sold and shipped by the seller, and then when the order comes in, you ship it from your warehouse. So those are the different ways to operate within the Walmart ecosystem. And there's different things are good for different products, different ways to sell are good for different avenues, but also there is the right path for your item might be stores, and it's just about when you're launching them on 3P, it's to build up into that. So I think it's a lot about not understanding what's the right channel for you within the channel, but also what's the right path to build up into it.
100%, yeah. So let's recap on those key areas that you're able to sell. There's 1P and 3P, which are two separate avenues. Within 1P, there's 1P in-store or shared owned, which is your products that are going in store that should also be available for online pickup and delivery as well as shipping. You have 1P.com, which is exclusively Walmart purchasing inventory through their fulfillment centers for fulfillment. And then you have dropship, which is, may be referred to as DSV. Very commonly, a lot of older suppliers, or people who have been in the Walmart business for a while may be legacy DSV sellers or suppliers with Walmart. And now that 3P has come along, you're seeing a lot of more sellers shift more in that direction. So DSV was kind of the 3P version of Walmart prior to the marketplace, right? And this has obviously been going on for a while before even Jet.com. Like it's been around for a bit, their DSV platform, and it is definitely something that also Walmart's moving away from in favor of the 3P model. Just it makes more sense. It's a little bit simpler. There's more levers. There's just more flexibility as a seller or supplier to leverage Walmart's 3P.
Awesome, yeah. So before we dive into a little bit of the strategies for how to build up items online to get into store, and then also just how to build up a strong online business, I think one thing to kind of understand is why brands should do or not even to sell it, so to say. It's like why when they do marketplace, like what are some of the reasons suppliers or sellers leverage Walmart Marketplace? And I think there's a few different things to keep in mind. So number one, you have the ability to own your retails, right? So especially if you have large businesses and other retailers, like it's really important to be able to own your retails on some items. You don't want to disrupt other channel. If you have an item that's really big on Amazon and you sell it to Walmart, they own the retail, and now it could cause some buy box suppression and other things. So that's one reason why. Second reason why is you're a current supplier with Walmart and you want to better round out your assortment, meaning for two reasons. Number one, let's say you sell a certain pack of of socks on in store, but you have other similar socks and you want to be able to, number one, sell them online because you're able to cross sell and you're able to pick up on more sales, but also you're able to just take more share of the category. And that's a really big point. When a customer is searching for socks, if you have one item that's in store, your share of the digital shelf is limited, right? So brands might not notice you as much, but when you have more items, you'll still have your top items, but those other items that might not be as strong sellers help overall tell the brand story and take up digital real estate, which is what's really important. So that's the second reason why. And really the next reason why, and why a lot of brands leverage Marketplace, is you really want to get Walmart to buy the inventory, or you want to get it in store. Instead of coming to Walmart and giving them a whole pitch of why your item is great, you prove it to them on their own channel. So you're able to, Walmart gives you all the tools to be able to launch the item, grow the item, and then bring it to them with a successful story.
Right. And how many times, have you, let's say, gone to a merchant and, you start to pitch them your product and they're like, wait a second, have you tried 3P? Have you just proven this on Walmart? Right. This is such a simple method that anyone could just get started with. You could just get your product live, get something happening, and it just helps that sales piece. And especially right now, like for Walmart's perspective, why should they even take that risk in the first place without first having a proven model that this product does indeed sell well? Furthermore, one of the cool things about 3P that they're able to leverage is they could see demographically, where your products are selling well, right? If you're leveraging, let's say, WFS and you have 2-day fulfillment across the whole US, they say, hey, oh, here I see this region is selling your product really well. It helps them make a little bit more of an informed decision. Or even yourself, you could export your own data and use that as a little bit of a push for, hey, I think my product would sell well in this region. And they could then do the store allocation based on that, which gives you a little bit more leverage that you're coming in with more real, legitimate data, showing actual sales data instead of Walmart just kind of rolling the dice and, hoping they make a good call on your products.
Yeah, also to add to that, a lot of Walmart is just being a good partner, right? Walmart's a very partner-centric company. And there's nothing like showing you're a good partner that actually doing the work up front. And proving to them that you're willing to invest in what's important to them, invest in their channels, invest in their business. And through leveraging and investing in 3P, you're able to do that, as opposed to you come in with a whole story that you're going to invest, you're going to support them, but they'll come back to you. There's an open channel that you could be investing with, and you could have, shown to us that, you're a proactive partner, but you didn't leverage it. So I think it's just from that standpoint, it's also really important. And I think it works like this for every channel and fast growing ecosystem. It's at one point it's nice to do it and you don't get so much value when you do it because it's small. Then it starts transitioning to it's big. There's not a lot of people taking advantage of it. So you take a lot, it's easy to get growth and you're making strong sales because there's low competition. And then it becomes like, oh, it's getting really competitive and it's hard to make sales. And as the channel grows, it'll just become harder and harder. And that thought in the same way is really about how things that are nice to do now become a necessity. So for example, when 2 years ago or 3 years ago on Walmart Marketplace, you didn't have to be WFS. But I always told sellers, you could wait it out. You don't need to be WFS. You could still succeed without being WFS. But right now it's an advantage if you're WFS, right? In a year, 2 years, you're going to have to do it anyway. So why not, figure out all the logistics that you need to and the integrations that you need to now, and then you'll ride the advantage. And when it's necessary, you're already integrated. So it kind of works like that.
Yeah, especially Walmart really uses historical data for your listings, performance and its ranking on the platform, right? When you're looking to start off a new product, you have to go through so much more work to just build up that rank over time versus if you have an older product that you've been selling for a while, you've been selling well, you've always had good shipping, you've been converting for years, you hold those top positions so much stronger. And this is why you'll see a little bit of a trend when you go online, right? If you look at a lot of top large general keywords, you'll see these really legacy products that have just been in store forever and just been converting and selling online for years, that they're just sitting there at the top because they have all that historic data behind it. Even though if the listing today may not be in the best shape, right? You may have like a very short title. You may see like some very simple things that like, oh, hey, I would optimize this, but they're just able to dominate and maintain those top ranks because they've been good for so long. And the same thing, applies to everyone. I mean, and by the way, you're hearing this today, like, uh-oh, I haven't really done anything until this point. That's fine. Walmart is growing extremely quickly. And if you still get in today, you're getting in way ahead of so many other sellers and suppliers. So you still have a long ways to go as Walmart continues to evolve into, this behemoth of this e-commerce business. And getting in today will still give you and set you up for success in a few years. So like, don't sit there and be like, oh, I screwed up, I got in too late. Like, you're still so much more ahead of so many others. And it's just really a key thing. I want to go back to an interesting point that you mentioned before. And I think with one of the big things about 3P that a lot of current existing suppliers could leverage is how they can actually solve a big problem that exists, which is cold start, right? So many brands, our suppliers are just like, oh, I have a new product that's going live on Mod, and like, how am I gonna drive traffic towards this thing? It's gonna kill me. Like, I have to spend so much. I'm already, everybody wants so tight on their margins these days. When you think about the digital component of it, if you're able to first get a listing set up on the 3P side, it could be the same product. You're going live, you have the product already set up on 3P, and you build up even for a couple of months ahead of time. You start just to prove that product on Walmart's platform. You're able to get it in. You're able to put some ad spend behind it. First purchase that digital real estate in advance of your launch. Then when you go live, you're live on 1P. Firstly, you're probably going to be cheaper, so you'll immediately get a strike through, which will help your conversion rate even further. It'll drive and boost your listing even more. And it's just going to be a great way just to kind of get over a little bit of that hurdle of cold start, just to be able to drive and succeed immediate growth without having to like start from zero the first day your product goes live.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that, we're going to cover this a lot in future sessions, which is really like what are tactical and strategic things you could do to show up well and grow. But maybe you could talk through a little bit of like, what are some ways to really think through at the basic level of how to make sure you're set up well on Walmart.com and some basic things. And we're not going to go too much into detail now, but what are some of the core things to make sure that we're set up the right way?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, core principles are, I would say, like, take a look at what your competitors are doing in terms of a few key areas. Stick to, the categorization is typically going to be your most impactful piece. So you want to say like, hey, find your top keyword, look it up on the platform, see, hey, what are the top listings doing right now? What's their product type? What's their category path? And make sure you're aligned with that. And again, just make sure your keywords are in your title. Those are going to be like the key things that are going to give you that initial success to grow.
Obviously, Walmart has been so invested into growing their .com business, and it's really been from an omni-channel perspective. I think I would say Walmart was the only one, even a few years ago, I used to say it's like Walmart was the only one that could put up a fight to Amazon, and I think they really succeeded with it. But I think what's more interesting is in that path, not only they've succeeded with challenging Amazon in just being and closer to the largest e-retailer in the world, it's really been about throughout that process, they built like a more unique omni-channel experience, which obviously the marketplace is growing really quickly, online's growing really quickly, but the way they tied in their stores into this whole business, I think has been the most interesting out of this. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about like what omni-channel means with Walmart and how they've been investing in omni-channel. What are some things they've been doing to really further the omni-channel experience business?
It's so interesting to see, a behemoth company, a Fortune 1 company take such a drastic turn in their general direction, right? Obviously Walmart's been, the largest retailer, highest revenue company, for probably as long as I've been alive, which is pretty crazy. And now just to see them pivot and really like go from this massive retail in-store business to the .com, and exactly that. Amazon has kind of just been the dominant player in the e-com space. They still are, right? They still are, unless you're watching this in like 5-10 years, they still are the dominant player in the e-com space. And who could really come in and challenge them? Who could be the Lyft to their Uber, so to say? And because there's always going to be like a few of these different players that are coming in, and just seeing, Walmart, who who has those capabilities, who are no fee. And I say Walmart knows how to make sales. They definitely know how to sell to a customer, right? They've been doing this for forever. They've been dominating. And I think what kind of triggered this was, it makes sense. I mean, if you take a look at it and you see that, hey, Amazon's hot on your coattails. Amazon, is quickly catching up in terms of their revenue. And they're like, wait, how am I going to maintain this and stick to being the top dog here? And they realized they had to pivot and shift to this, to this more of an e-commerce platform. And they've definitely tried over the years, Walmart.com has existed, but their acquisition of Jet, like over the past years, just kind of moving more towards this 3P marketplace. But just even within the past like 3 years or so, when we first got into this, we saw so many brands were having issues even getting accepted to Walmart.com as sellers. Right. And how much has that changed to Walmart, what they called opening the floodgates? It was like August 23, I think it was, where they just kind of said, all right, come to our platform and just come and sell your products. And we really see that has evolved to and the way Walmart even interacts with their sellers. How often, do you speak to these Amazon sellers and they're just like, I feel like they're just trying to squeeze me for everything. Their fees keep going off. Oh, my account got shut down. I never heard from anyone. Walmart's trying to be a partner, like Michael mentioned before. Walmart's trying to be a partner with you, and so many sellers and suppliers can echo this and just say yeah, Walmart actually came to me. They helped me with their onboarding. I was able to get everything set up through them. They really walked me through things, and just being again that partner to your business to understand, hey, here's the challenges you're facing. Here's how we're going to try and improve our product, and even on the back end side of things, I've been working through Item 360, now Supplier One, Seller Center, and you can just see an evolution in how antiquated their systems used to be to what it is today. Are there still flaws? 100%. Is it something that we see changes every single day? Even a larger 100%. That just continues to evolve and adapt. And what I really love to see, it's been very interesting. I've been selling people on Walmart for a bit, talking to all these sellers for so many years, just, oh, Walmart this, Walmart that, everyone's always complaining. And definitely it's been an easier pitch over the past few years as they see Walmart themselves has leaned in more. But there's all these complaints, and just seeing that Walmart's taking this and moving even past Amazon in some ways. And I think one key area that you see this, which is a longer conversation, is their partnership with OpenAI, a direction that just shows Walmart's investment in the future of how e-commerce will succeed. Obviously, going just through classic or standard search engines is something that's going to be potentially a thing of the past, as we evolve more towards AI, and Walmart going and investing immediately in that, making that partnership, with OpenAI as, we want our products to show up over here. We want to be able to drive sales through a medium that is. Just seeing the data so far here in end of 2025, ChatGPT is responsible for about 40% of all referral traffic to Walmart.com, which comes out, and referral traffic is about 4%, I believe, of all Walmart.com sales. So that means that ChatGPT alone is responsible for about 1.5% of all Walmart.com sales. And again, this partnership happened 3-4 months ago, max. That's crazy already. I mean, how is that only going to evolve? Because it's not just Walmart, it's also ChatGPT is just, the adoption just continues to grow every single day. It's something that, it's something that just, I mean, for you listening now, how many of you are, headed to that direction? You have a problem, you just go ChatGPT. You want to purchase something, you go ChatGPT. And the adoption of that and just taking that in, it just gives Walmart such a massive, it just shows their future mindset over maybe what you're seeing today in Amazon. Obviously, I'm sure Amazon has their own AI initiatives, but just a very common classic household, the household AI name integrating with Walmart just shows a certain level of investment within the future. And you just love to see that. You love to see that.
I think Walmart also just recently hired a chief AI officer. Ever since, John Furner got announced as the new CEO, global CEO. The main announcement was really about how he's going to help lead the AI transformation. And Walmart knows that in order to keep staying at the top, they have to keep pivoting. So they made that big e-commerce pivot, and now they're already planning for what the AI pivot is, right? And the thing about AI, there's, I don't want to go too down that rabbit hole, but now there's AI tools within Supplier One to help suppliers. There's Sparky within Walmart shopping app to help people shop. There's so many different aspects of how it's integrated. I think for associates, they have their own AI tool. Just throughout the entire Walmart ecosystem, there's so many of these different AI products throughout Walmart Connect. They want to make it much easier to run advertising, leveraging AI. So I think just seeing what Walmart's doing with AI, but it's really deja vu to what they've done with just the whole e-commerce space.
Very interestingly, something that Walmart has an advantage even to Amazon, I mean, aside from, the stores and everything that's very simple to understand, something that I think is interesting just from a business perspective is they don't have to be a pioneer for a lot of these existing, products that exist, right? Amazon has really been able to boom and really make e-commerce, the thing it is today. And Walmart is able to look at that and be like, all right, this part, amazing. I love this, but this, I don't know about that. Like there's certain things that they're able to see and be like, hey, I don't like this, and this is a problem for me, and I don't want that on my marketplace. And I just think, like, just off the top of my head, a couple things I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Michael. Like, firstly is, a price first approach. Walmart is so much about selling that EDLP, and especially, in today's day and age, when, every dollar needs to go as far as it can from a customer perspective, just being in that marketplace for people to be able to shop and know that you're getting a good deal is so impactful. And I've done this. I've gotten into this just myself from an experience I had. I was looking to buy windshield wiper fluid. This is crazy to say publicly, but I went to Amazon to go look for my windshield wiper fluid, and I'm like looking at the listing. You can do this right now. Go ahead, open your phone or your browser, whatever it is. Type in windshield wiper fluid. The top listings on Amazon are going to be about $20, right? You're going to see that $20, $15. If you scroll, maybe you'll get lucky. You'll find something for like $9. On the first page, I don't know. I'm on my phone, so there's not that many listings. You go to Walmart, the number one listing is $4.97, right? Why is that the case? Why is that if I'm looking for something, I'm not immediately seeing the best deal for my product, the best deal as a consumer, that this is going to be the product that I'm going to want to purchase, right? That's just such a key way that Walmart shows you that they are, that's just something that they love, that's something that they love, is just showing that. That's just one piece that I really like about it. It's also Walmart's understanding of, let's say the third party sellers and the piece and the piece in that space, how they're able to really help work with some of these suppliers who have, how many of you sellers or suppliers have just like been struggling with hijackers on your listing, somebody coming in and just, completely taking over your listing, maybe it's counterfeit products, all these different pieces. And Walmart just clearly showing, just this year alone, they got rid of over 100 million in GMV from sellers who are selling, counterfeit products, or not necessarily authorized resellers and consumables. And it just shows, again, common issues that sellers and suppliers face on Amazon and Walmart's take on it. Now, obviously, there's still issues today, there's no doubt, but it's about the direction and the way that they're willing, again, to be partners with you and really make a platform that you have real brands coming to with their products, just helping them really grow and have a true platform to sell to customers in a way that they can reach them with their good products.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It's fun to do this first episode of this show. I think throughout this, and hopefully you tune into other episodes, we're going to really, as this show progresses, we're going to really dive into, obviously, keep giving you informed on ways to think about things and letting you know about new strategies that are coming and just new initiatives that are coming to platform. But we're really going to start diving into strategy and tactics that you could hopefully take away and utilize for your business to help you grow on Walmart.
We're excited to keep them coming.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.